And the show started.
Okay, welcome everybody. I told you it would be 6:05, and I was right on today. Welcome to Eggless Egg Rolls. This is day 6. We've been doing this for 6 days, and there's been some of you who have been with me for all 6. If you are joining me right now, give me a hashtag number 1. Let me know where you're listening from. If we listen to this later, give me a hashtag number 2. I think we're still having some technical difficulties. But anyway, the show must go on. Then if you're cooking with me tonight, let me know you're cooking with me. Give me a hashtag 3. And if you've done all 6, I want you to tell me I've cooked all 6 meals. Goodness, we have so much food. I didn't realize we were cooking this much food. Now, I happen to be doing an entire pound of my ground meat tonight just simply because I froze the entire thing. So I need to cook the entire thing so that way we have it for other meals. So I'll be sharing this around. But eggless egg rolls today, I did go ahead and add a couple ingredients that didn't make the ingredient list. So I just want to let you know. And the nice thing is with this, you can use whatever you want as far as your filler. We obviously are using a bunch of shredded cabbage for filler. The meat is going to be filler. But I went ahead and diced up onions. Let me show you how small I made them here. Let's see here. There we go. So I diced up some onion or some mushrooms, nice and small. This is 4 ounces of mushrooms. So I've got that going. I also went ahead and did a half a cup of onion. So at the final, we'll put all that in the instructions, but I went ahead and did that as well. Just it's going to add a little bit more flavor. But you could be using anything. You could slice up green beans and put them in there. You could put asparagus in there, just dice it up really small. You could put spinach in there. So it's up to you what you want to do. But we just want to kind of make you aware of what we're doing today. So first of all, we have any comments coming in? We'll have some comments here in a minute, but get a big pot like this bad boy here, and go ahead and get it filled with hot water. We're going to bring that to a boil. So that's our first step, is we want a big pot of boiling water because we're going to boil our cabbage. Okay, so I'm turning my heat on. We're going to get that boil going. And the other thing you're going to need is another big, it's the same pan I used for yesterday, a big deep frying pan because we're going to be frying quite a bit of stuff here. All right, we have our good old Bragg's liquid aminos, and then I'm introducing a new product tonight, liquid coconut aminos. Okay, also really good, not as salty. So we're going to use this kind of as a finisher. We're also going to use this as a little bit of a dip afterwards. So this is going to be really, really good. Really looking forward to that. Of course, you have your ginger. Somebody had asked about fresh ginger. You can use fresh ginger. Just use a whole lot less. Fresh herbs are a lot stronger than dried herbs. So just keep that in mind when you're using your, specifically with ginger. Ginger is going to be a lot stronger. Some of your fresh herbs, I should take that back, some of your fresh herbs are not as strong as your dried. But in this instance, fresh ginger, it's not going to be a teaspoon for teaspoon with fresh versus regular. So this is what my ground ginger looks like. Very, very fine. All right, while that's heating up, I wanted to go and show you a technique we're going to be using a head of cabbage for our covering for our egg roll. So this is really good stuff here, and I want to show you a technique with this to make it a little easier to try to peel. The first couple layers are easy to peel with it. Let's see, I'll move it over here so you guys can see it a little bit better. Oh! Whew, sorry about that. Alright.
Okay. Making it work.
Making it work. Where's this way? This way. Can't figure out which way to go. There we go. Okay, so what you'll want to do once you've peeled the first couple layers off, if you cut around the stem here, because what you'll find is when you try to peel layers off, like this, when you try to peel the layers off, then they start to fall apart, like in the corners and stuff. So what I've been doing that's been really helpful for me is I start at this end, and I kind of get things started peeling here. All right, like so, and I have, there we go. Then I'm able to have a lot better luck at keeping it intact like this. So you can see how it's all kept intact. So just a little tip there, cutting around the core as you're using your cabbage, you can get better, more intact pieces, and that's what we're looking for. So go ahead and make several of these while our hot water is heating up. I have made several. And then as soon as our water boils, we're going to stick these in there one at a time, just so they have space, but we're going to put them all in. I just don't want to put the whole thing in. I'm going to put them in one at a time, but I'm going to wait till my water boils so they can just sit here for right now. Hopefully you've got everything chopped up. I've got my minced garlic ready to go. I've got my chopped green onion ready to go. I've got my onion, my mushroom, my salt, my pepper, my vegetable broth, my liquid aminos, my hot sauce. Everything's ready to go. And then I cheated. I went ahead and pre-bought the shredded cabbage. So I have shredded cabbage.
What?
I know, I pre-bought the shredded cabbage. So this is about 10 to 12 ounces of pre-shredded cabbage. It's really good cabbage too.
It was good.
Mm-hmm. And I just got some purple cabbage in here as well. There's a few carrots in here. So if you're on the lose it stage, you know, there's so few in here. If you were to eat these carrots, it's really not going to be that big of a deal. What you don't want to be doing is just eating carrots all the time. But like I said, there's so few in here, it really wouldn't make that much of a difference for you on your weight loss program.
Alright, I'm gonna try to get some comments.
All right, let's get some comments.
I'll read some to you.
Who all is joining us today?
Well, I know that Bonnie's been cooking all meals.
Bonnie, welcome. Awesome, Bonnie. Bonnie's been cooking with us every day. Very
She
good.
has been. Chris is here.
Chris,
Susan, Mary, Amanda,
great to have all of you ladies.
Maki, though, she was the one who was winning so well.
Yeah, very good. Amanda's doing a great job with all of them, and you should check out some of Amanda's pictures. Really well done. Really well done. Great job, Amanda.
Lenore, Chico.
Lenore and Chico. Hey, we got a guy watching.
From Jane and Chico.
All right, very good.
Let's see, Christine.
Christine,
She's
great
cooking
to have
with
you.
you.
All right, Christine, welcome.
She loves all your tips.
Oh, thank you, Christine. I love having you here. Doing a great job.
And then Jane is on late. She said that she was talking with her son, and did she miss anything?
Oh, yeah, we gave away $1,000, Jane, and you missed it. And the thing is, it would have been super easy for you to win because you could have won and it was anyone who had the name Jane. But you were here, so you missed it. Oh, and while we're waiting for our water to boil, did you hear what one cupcake said to the other cupcake? So both cupcakes are sitting in an oven. One cupcake says to the other cupcake, "Man, it is so hot in here." And the other cupcake says, "What? A talking cupcake?" I know you guys are all laughing. And look, it's perfect time. I have a nice rolling boil here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my heat down to low so we kind of stop the boil, and then I'm going to start putting my cabbage in. And now remember, cabbage reduces so much when you start cooking it. All right, so I'm kind of trying to get it waterlogged so it sinks in there because I want to make sure I get water between the cabbages.
I can come in closer.
Yeah, well, you can come right here and you can step up on there if you want.
Sweet.
Awesome. So I'm just making sure I have water between cabbage, because then what'll also tend to happen is they'll stick together if you don't have some water in between them. All right, so. So, get some water in between. So for those of you who are participating with me and can't necessarily see, I'm just putting water between each cabbage I put in so I can make sure that it gets done well. Okay? And it looks like I'm going to be able to get all of my pieces in. I have lots of cabbage here, and I'm making so much extra, I'm going to feed the neighborhood here. So by the way, I'm totally new. If you live in the area, I have 2 refrigerators and a chest freezer full of food because I do what a lot of you do and do a lot of leftovers, but my goodness, we have so much food, and Paulina is definitely not eating her half.
We will do curbside. You can
yes,
come on over.
Yes, you can come on over and do curbside.
Let us know. Private message us if you're in the area.
We're dead serious. I still have leftover spaghetti, and plus I've been pawning all this stuff up on my grandparents, like, hey, do you want this food? Do you want this food? So it doesn't go bad. So what I've got here is I've turned my heat down to low, okay? And so you have to cover it. If you don't cover it, it's not going to work well because the steam is going to cook. Now, when you add in something cold into your hot pot, it cools it off rather quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat up back to about a 3 or a 4, just so I can start to see that little bit of a boil again, and then I'll turn it all the way back down. But I've lost a lot of heat. I want to make sure I'm closer to a boil, so I'm going to go ahead and turn up my heat. And right now I'm going to take a sip of coffee.
Ooh.
Mm. What did everybody do today? Like, take a minute to post something you did today, and something that I would encourage you to do is make sure, because it can be discouraging being in quarantine if you're quarantined, make sure you take time every day to do something small for someone else. It's going to really help you as you're going through this time to be contributing to other people. It will help you feel less discouraged and less depressed about the situation you're in, and it'll just help you stay encouraged and help you stay positive. One of the best ways to help during times like this is seeing who else you can help. Because if your focus is outward on who you can help, then you don't worry about all of the things that are going on in your life. You're focused on helping out other people, and it's almost impossible to be selfish while you're thinking of other people and doing things for other people. So just something to encourage you along those lines. I know there's a movement going around in Chicago where they're pairing up food places with ER places, and I understand not everybody has the means to do this, but people are banding together and they're ordering food from local restaurants and having it delivered to the ERs so that those ER people who are working around the clock have food, and it's also a way to support the local businesses. Finding the local mom and pop restaurants that may be really struggling during this time can be a real encouragement for them. So it doesn't have to be just you. You could get some of your friends together, do something like that, but make sure you contact the hospital first. All right, don't just show up with food. All right, but just some ideas there for everybody. Okay, I am now back. We have some comments. I'm gonna just real quick before we get to our comments. I've got a little bit of my rolling boil back, so I'm going to go ahead and just open it up and just push the cabbage in a little bit. Make sure that we're cooking, and you'll already see that the cabbage is starting to fall down, which is great. Cover it again, and then I'm going to bring it back down to a low. So I'm about at a 2 on my oven here. Stove. What is this? Stove? Stove. 2 on my stove. I'm a professional chef. Okay.
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
But you're good.
Welcome to the show.
Okay.
Okay. For those of you on Instagram that can't see it, we have this. Oh, it's still up. We have this this software, and we put things on the screen that you can't see. So sorry, but I just hit the button that says "Welcome to the show" and live VitaLife.
Okay,
Very
stop
good.
touching.
Okay.
Let me read you some comments. Bonnie's saying, I donated to a local fundraiser that's providing healthy snacks for the local hospital workers.
Oh, that's so awesome, Bonnie. Very good. Love that. And we're sharing here, everybody. We're sharing here just to give other people ideas. So don't think like, oh, well, there's Bonnie just bragging again. No, this is a community. This is how we help each other, help people. So if you're doing something, don't feel embarrassed to share. Just share what you're doing. And that way other people can like, oh, you know what, that's something that I can do.
Peggy said she did pizzas for my nurses.
Peggy did pizzas for nurses. That's fantastic.
And
I love
Mary
that.
said that she sent powder and famil to a school. Is that the milk stuff?
Oh,
there are
formula?
families
Very
there
good.
who need assistance, and a friend is organizing that. So
Very
that's in
good.
Harbor, Michigan. Benton Harbor, Michigan.
In Michigan. Well, this is so awesome, and it's so great to see. When we finally, like as a country too, when we kind of come together and really understand what's important, all of those other things tend to disappear. All of those racial divisions and country divisions, and we're all fighting something together, and it just tends to bring people together. So it's kind of a neat byproduct of the tragedy that we're going through. Okay, at this point in time, I've got my cabbage. It's doing its thing. I'm going to go ahead and start cooking my meat. Now, I have a lot of meat, and I'm using pork because we got some fresh pork. Paulina's grandma bought an entire pig. So we got some fresh pork, so we're going to go ahead and use that. Again, pork would not be on the lose it stage of the VitaLife program, but if you're past the lose it stage, you can go ahead and use pork. So we're using pork today.
Especially when it's free.
Especially when it's free. We like free pork. And it's fresh free pork, even better.
So good. We
So
already had
good.
some.
So go ahead, and here's what's fun, and hopefully as you guys are cooking, especially if this is kind of new to you to be doing all these things, you're learning that it doesn't have to be exact. So for instance, I'm using pork, but let me know what meat you're using today. Because this is an eggless egg roll, but technically your protein portion could be egg, it could be shrimp, you could throw fish in here, you could throw any ground meat in here, you could throw chicken in here, you could throw steak in here. So let me know what you're doing. I would love to know. So I've got my pork starting. Take a little drink of coffee. If you have a beverage, this would be the ideal time to take a sip. I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat on to medium. My pork is a little bit cold in the center, so I'm going to have to do some smashing here to break this up. So bear with me here. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you've noticed this. I have this little thing. This little thing. I'm trying not to drip everywhere. This thing. Here, let me put it under here. I have this thing. This is a thawing tray, and it's actually designed to thaw your food faster. So you just place your food on there, whether you place it in the fridge or out, and it thaws it faster. It's like the way it sits, and then it uses induction. It uses induction to draw, so it's really cold. Like the plate itself is really cold. But what that's doing, it's inducting the coldness out of the meat or whatever you're trying to thaw. So it just speeds up the thawing process without, running it under hot water or anything.
Jane saying my husband is mad at me because I lost $1,000. How? Yeah, people are using ground turkey and bison.
Turkey and bison. Oh, bison would be excellent as well. Turkey too. Yeah.
And I think Mary mentioned earlier that she's eating her leftovers from yesterday.
Yes, and then we've given everybody extra days, and appreciate we had a bunch of people weigh in today, so you still have till midnight tonight. And even if you're not actively trying to lose weight, hey, participate with us. It's fun. Me and Jane are having a contest to see who can get to our goal weight faster.
Nice.
Nice.
It is a lot of fun.
Okay, so I'm just pounding out my meat here, trying to break up the frozen pieces, and I'm just about good to go here. All right. Stir some stuff around.
Bonnie's asking if you got that thawing tray at VitaLife.
No, Bonnie, we don't carry that. But what I can do for you is, after this, somebody's just going to have to remind me, I can post a link to Amazon where you can get one on Amazon. Also, I'll post, I'll try to put in one post all the different things that I use from Amazon, so that way it'll make it really easy for you guys to pick it out from Amazon there. But everything else you can buy from us. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this is browning up. I'm going to check on my cabbage here. So if you're cooking with me, make sure you check on your cabbage. It's getting pretty close. I'm going to just give that, I'm going to bring it up. Mine's not boiling anymore.
You remind me that you're making like gołąbki. Do you know what those are?
No.
Gołąbki?
Oh.
Who here knows what
Here we're going to have a
are?
Polish lesson.
Look at that. It's almost like making gołąbki, which is the cabbage roll. I don't know, cabbage roll with meat. And
So tell us what we're eating in Polish.
I mean, we're not eating gołąbki, but this reminds me that's kind of what you're making. Oh, my grandma made the best gołąbki.
So this is a traditional Polish dish, not what we're doing.
Yeah, but it reminds me of that because, you have to take the cabbage and then you put the meat and then I think the meat has something else in it too, like mushrooms.
Well, we're going to be adding mushrooms, so maybe it's the same.
It's almost the same. Anyways.
Okay, meat's going good. I turned up the heat on my cabbage, just wanted to, so I'm getting a little bit of a boil, that's perfect. I'm gonna let that sit for just a minute. At this point in time, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my garlic into my meat, okay? And again, I'm cooking a lot of meat, so technically I would probably want a little extra garlic because this is designed for like a 4-ounce meat, okay? So 1 clove of garlic would be like 4 ounces of meat, okay? So I'm going to add that. I'm also going to add my onions in.
Is it the small? Hold on. I'm behind.
And then I'm going to put some splash of my Bragg's liquid aminos in. Splash of Bragg's. And I'm going to put a little bit of vegetable broth in there too. Just a splash. I am going to add my mushrooms in a moment, but I want to kind of let these things cook first. So I'm going to mix everything in there together. Let me do a pinch of salt as well. So a little bit of salt in there. And I'm going to put 10 cranks of pepper. I always love fresh ground pepper. I once in a while will use the normal stuff, but very rarely. Okay, so that was 10 cranks of fresh ground pepper. Mix that in really good. Keep the meat moving so you don't burn it, so you can make sure you cook everything really well. This pork smells excellent. Excellent, excellent. I am now going to take my heat off on my cabbage because we are going to be good to go with the cabbage. And I'm going to drain the water. Now I'm going to show you what I do to drain water. And you may already know how to do this, okay? But when I started cooking, I didn't know how to do a thing, all right? So you may not already know how to do stuff like this, but you'll take your, this lid doesn't fit this, but if it did, you're going to take your lid like this, and you're going to kind of go like this and drain off the water over your sink. Okay, now, really important, this is boiling water. So if you think about it, if you're like this, you can burn your hand with the steam. So you just need to be very, very, very careful when you do this, okay? So just a couple tips there with that. And that's from my own experience of burning myself. So it's so nice that you guys can learn from me. All right, stirring up the meat a little bit, making sure everything's mixed in, making sure nothing's burning. I've got my meat at a medium heat, and it's cooking up really nicely.
And it smells so good.
It smells
How's the smell over
amazing.
there for you?
It smells amazing.
Gentlemen.
Okay. If you have questions as we're going along, make sure you ask. I appreciate those who are asking questions as we're going here. I'm going to now drain out my cabbage water here.
I'm so hungry.
Paulina is so hungry. It's shocking. All right, so I'm just over here going to drain this out as best as I can without hurting myself or anyone else.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
All that steam.
All that steam. That steam can burn you. So you could also use maybe an oven mitt on one of these hands to protect you from the steam. But there we go. Okay, now remember this cabbage is still super, super, super hot. So what we're going to do, because we're going to cook this a little bit later, we're going to make our cabbage cooler. So I'm going to go ahead and blanch. And who can remember what blanching means? Let's let people comment and see what we know.
Ooh, I know. And I'm not going to say until somebody comments.
Well, that's good.
I just learned like 3 days ago on your cooking show.
Alright, so I'm blanching because I want to be able to use this stuff right away. So I need to be able to handle it, and the cabbage was too hot before to handle. Too hot to handle.
Too hot.
Too hot to handle. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add in my mushrooms. Adding in the mushrooms, and I'm going to add in my coleslaw now. Okay, so if you're with me now, we're adding in our coleslaw. We are letting our cabbage sit on the side, adding in our coleslaw. We're going to start mixing it in there. Again, if you can cover this, that's going to help this cook, because this is going to cook way down. Holy cow, we got another massive pot of food.
I was like, should we cut down the recipe? Oh, that's what everybody's saying.
So basically for everything going forward, just put it in half and you probably have plenty of food. So that's why it doesn't make sense when people say they're hungry on the VitaLife program, they're not doing something right.
Nope.
Because there's so much food here.
Let me know when I can try something.
Paulina wants to know when she can try something. Would you like a green onion?
I'm so hungry. That's all. I'm gonna back and steal a couple of tomatoes.
You can steal a couple tomatoes. We have some tomatoes back there. Did everybody get your grocery shopping done? Is anybody having issues finding stuff? We may do something fun. I did have one of our members here was sharing how they struggle finding food, and I believe they're in the health industry as well and working a lot of hours, so they're not necessarily cooking with us. But I thought it might be fun for her to share what she has in her pantry right now, and for us to maybe do a segment just cooking whatever she has. So that would be kind of fun. So we may do something like that.
Okay. Some people knew what blanching was for
Great.
cold water. So.
Yep. And
That's
why
good.
do we blanch? What's the main reason for blanching?
For cold water and vegetables to stop the cooking process
Yep,
by
there it
cooling
is.
them off.
Yep.
Jane said that.
Jane
I'm
said-
sure other people said it too. I just read the last one.
Who all said it? That's great.
We're talking cold water, like Trudy and Dorothy said cold water. Peggy said cold water. Bonnie said she took a walk and washed the kitchen floor. But she also said it to stop the cooking with cold water.
Very good. Nicely done, everybody.
When do we add the onions? Do we do
We already added the onions. We added the onions when we were browning the cauliflower. When we were browning the meat. Here, let's cut and do that again.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Cut.
Okay, welcome to eggless egg rolls. We're gonna get started here. Okay. Yeah, so when you were browning the meats is when that, but you can add them in right now. Okay, so if you haven't added them in, add them in. The thing we haven't added is the green onions because those are going to be garnishing the top. So we're not doing the green onions. Green onions are not being cooked. All right, now we're going to make this, I'm going to make this a little spicy, but not too much. Remember, we learned some things about spice. Now, somebody help me out. I don't remember how much ginger. Can somebody help me out? It's in the recipe list.
Somebody can. I can.
Can't remember how much ginger is on our list.
We have 1 teaspoon ground ginger.
1 teaspoon of ground ginger. Okay, perfect.
But that's dry, right?
Yes, this is dry. Ground dried ginger. Okay? All right, so 1 teaspoon of ground dried ginger. You know, I'm going to probably need a little bit more than this, but we'll try it. Paulina likes ginger.
I do.
So I'm doing a heaping teaspoon of
I'm
ginger.
drinking ginger ale.
Oh, Zevia, once again, our show, I wish it was brought to you by
Brought to you
Zevia.
by Zevia. Soon enough.
Soon enough. We have pickup.
Share and like our
Yes.
video, and soon enough, Zevia will pick
Zevia
us up
will be
and
like, wow, you
sponsor.
guys are so awesome. We want to get some action on that cooking show of yours. All right, so I'm mixing the ginger in, then I'm going to try it. Because really I want this to be very Asian-like. I also have some balsamic vinegar here. I'm going to go ahead and add some of that. That's not in your list, but if you have some balsamic vinegar, it's going to be good in here. It's going to give it an Asian flavor. So I'm going to add a little bit of balsamic vinegar in there. And mix that in so we see what the flavors are all going to taste like.
I'm going to get a close-up.
Nice. So I'm just mixing everything in really, really, really well, and I'm also throwing half of the ingredients on my stovetop. Not on purpose. All the ingredients on the stovetop.
Oh, yeah. That's okay.
That's okay.
I don't mind that you're a messy cook.
Yeah, as long as I clean it up.
As long as you're cooking.
All right, so let's try this. And got little trying spoons. So happy about that. All right, so go ahead and try. If your meat's all the way done, and it should be by now, go ahead and try and see how things are tasting. Okay, we got good flavors going on, but for me, it's really bland. Paulina, come try.
Yeah, I was expecting more flavors.
More flavors. So, what do you guys recommend we do?
Add something?
Mm.
I'll go read the comments.
She'll go read the comments. And let us know how yours is tasting. Maybe yours isn't bland. But it makes sense that ours might be because of how much meat we're using too. This could feed so many people.
We have a little delay,
Yeah.
so that's why we don't have.
So I'm just stirring a little bit right now. I'm going to wait. There is a little bit of a delay with the video here, so I know everybody is probably answering as soon as they hear, but there is a delay. So I'm just going to be stirring this a little bit, checking on my cabbage while we wait for responses to come in, and then we'll see what we can do to make this a little tastier.
Mm-hmm. Donna said Siracha.
Oh, Siracha. Ah, very good.
Yeah.
Let's add some Sriracha or hot sauce. I'm going to be using my Davis Heat Chipotle hot. I would recommend the Davis Heat Rojo with this, but I forgot to get some when I was at the office today. So I'm going to just kind of sprinkle some of that in there. I think that's a great idea. And by the way, when you taste something and it doesn't taste right, like, you know, it's kind of bland, don't add in a bunch of different things. Just start with one. So we're going to start with this. And then I will mix this in really well, taste it again, and we'll go from there. At this point in time too, you should be getting quite a bit of the cabbage cooked down into liquid, so I'm going to go ahead and turn, so you have some water in the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my burner down to low, because we are cooked. We're just trying to get the flavors to work a little bit better together. So I added the hot sauce, and let's try it again here. It's getting better.
How is it?
Better. But still, oh, you have your own spoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Better, but still needs stuff. I would say.
Still needs stuff.
Any other comments there?
I think there's a comment that says, Trudy said, I used apple balsamic vinegar for something a little different, not bland.
Very good. Apple balsamic vinegar, very nice. I love that.
And Christine says, mine is bland also. I don't care for balsamic. How about red wine vinegar?
Red wine vinegar would work as well. Now here's something, when something's bland, okay, so here's the principle. When something's bland, it tends to need salt. So the vinegar would help because the vinegar is going to give it that saltiness. But let's start with salt. Now here's what we're going to do for a little test, okay? So I'm going to get one of these spoonfuls here because Paulina is kind of our tester. Okay? So this is as is, and now I'm going to add salt. This is a generous pinch of salt, of the Hawaiian VitaLife pink salt.
Micah Cecia just joined.
Hey guys, how's it going? Mike and Ceci are good friends of ours. They are the owners of Red Cloud Contracting. They actually, if you like my kitchen, why don't we get a little 360 of the kitchen here? If you like my kitchen, they did the kitchen, and it looks amazing. So take a look at it. They even did the colors and everything. It was great. So I was able to move in, and everything was ready to go. So we're gonna get a little behind the scenes look, so you guys can see my amazing kitchen. This is my basement kitchen.
Okay. So behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, here we are.
And
all the colors, the backsplash,
Davis loves
everything.
the
I love the
colors.
colors. And then even this is cool. This is the chalkboard wall that you guys can see. The chairs that match. We've got a really great floor.
Change your story.
Change your story. Really great floor in here.
We've got the chairs and
back over here.
back over here. Oh, I didn't get the floor, but hold on, let me do it right here.
Hopefully don't get the dirty part of it.
That's what I'm trying to avoid. Davis is a great cook, but sure a messy one.
Very messy. All right, so try it now. When you think something's bland, it almost always needs salt or pepper, or both. So your first two things that you want to try is salt and pepper. So I put some salt in here, and I'm going to put some pepper in here. I'm going to do another, probably like 30 cranks here.
Christine's saying, I love the kitchen, and they travel to Kansas.
I'm sure if the project was big enough, they would.
And Micah's saying, thanks for the plug, and that he is excited to finish the rest of your basement.
Yeah, yes, we have to finish the rest of the basement. We only showed you the kitchen because the rest of the basement's still not finished. It will get finished, but it's not yet. Okay, so let's try this again. So I have my pre-salt, and now we have the bite with the salt and pepper. Okay, so we just added salt and pepper. Okay, all right, Paulina, come on over.
Oh yeah, my favorite.
All right, so here is without salt. So this is what we had before. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's try it with the salt and pepper.
Mm.
Much better?
Mm-hmm. Much better, yeah.
Much better. Now, I will say, so much better.
So much better.
So much better. But it's missing the Asianness.
I was just gonna say that. I'm like, but you lost the Asian.
You were not going to
I
say
was
that.
so gonna say that.
So we're going to go ahead and put some more ginger in there. I'm going to put another teaspoon. Again, this is a huge pot of food, so put in the ginger that you think you need. I'm going to go ahead and add the ginger in. Mix the ginger in. This should help with our Asian flavors. The balsamic vinegar also will help with that. But again, sticking with our principle, we're going to add in one thing at a time. Try it out. Another thing you can do when you're doing this, if you don't want to season the whole thing, I mean, I know that this ginger is going to help, but if you're not sure if something's going to help, remember what we did in one of the earlier shows where you put a little bit on a bite to see if that was what was missing, see if that helped us out here. There we go. Now we're getting hints of the Asian taste.
I've been craving Asian food. All the. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, the question is, does more make it better? So let's try that.
I don't know.
She doesn't know.
I don't know.
So I'm gonna try it here. So I'm just, for those who
Makes
are
it really
who can't
gingery.
watch,
I don't think it makes
I'm gonna put a little bit more ginger on my bite. Yep, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much, good. And then I'm also gonna try this. I'm gonna try adding a little splash on my bite of the balsamic, just a drop. And there we go. So I'm just adding another bite, trying a little bit of the balsamic, seeing if that helps anything. Yep, it's too much too.
What
So-
about more of the liquid aminos? So it tastes more like soy saucy.
Oh. By the way, we are going to use as a dip at the end the coconut aminos, so that may do it.
Okay.
So we're not going to put this in, but here, why don't you come try a bite?
Okay.
All right, so we're going to try a little bit. For those of you who are listening and cooking with me, I'm just trying a little bit of coconut aminos. You could use liquid aminos. Trying a little bit of that on there, and I think that's probably going to be the finishing touch there. There we go. I got to try that. That's it. So we will be using that.
So good.
So the coconut aminos or Bragg's liquid aminos or soy sauce, depending on what you have. The coconut aminos isn't as salty. All right,
That's it.
so good. All right. So now we are at the point where we're going to actually make one of our egg rolls. So now we have our cabbage, okay, that we blanched because we wanted to have it not be hot so we could handle it. Okay. All right, so this is what we've got here. And then we're just going to take a spoon and we're going to spoon some ingredients into our egg roll. Okay. And I'm trying to think which end. You want to do it at the thicker end. That's right. So you want to place your stuff on the thicker end of the cabbage, because as it's rolling, the thinner the cabbage tends to stick a little bit better to keep things all closed up nicely. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. And then what's great with this is we cut it. Okay. Now we've got this nice look here. Great, great, great. Okay. And then what I'm going to do here is we'll try a bite, see how everything is together. Okay, and what we're going to do here, this is kind of fun, we're going to get a little dish out for our coconut aminos. Okay. And now we can take this nice, well, I'm going to use this one, it stays together a little better. Dip it in our coconut aminos. And
Thank you for the invite.
Very, very good.
Invite myself in. I'm gonna take a little bite. Oh, it is falling apart.
Last thing it needs, check this out. Okay.
That's really good.
So I would garnish it with some onion, right? So in this one, I'm going to go ahead and use a utensil. And grab this guy, put a little bit of the sauce on, finish it with the onion. Now this, very good. I would even probably add a little bit of salt to the top of the cabbage. Just sprinkle a little salt. I think that would help complete the dish.
It is really good.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is it's time to plate. So we're going to plate now. Get another one of these cabbage. Let's get a good one. Cabbage leaves. The other thing that'll help too is if you make sure your cabbage is as dry as possible, so the less liquid on them. Come back over here. All right. Get another scoop here. Yeah, this one kind of fell apart a little bit. That's all right. What I'm going to do as well with this is I'm going to put some of the onions. This is one of the steps I forgot. We're going to put some onions inside. It'll be easier to eat. They're not cooked. Okay. I'm going to pinch a little bit of salt in there too. Just because after tasting it, it needs some salt. And I want this one to be hot. So I'm going to, this one's for me. So I'm going to put some hot sauce on that bad boy. And drizzle just a little bit on the inside too of the coconut aminos. There we go. And I love it when you guys post your own variations on stuff. It's so great. Saying what you added, what you took away. So as you guys are making, I love hearing stuff like that. So great. Okay, there we go. We're going to roll that in. Roll, roll, roll. So for those of you who can't see, I'm just rolling another egg roll. All right. There we go. Get my plates for plating.
Perfecto.
And then what I'm going to do to finish this off is I'm going to cut it in half. And in the center, I'm going to put soy sauce. So, surrounded by some greenery, like so. And there we go.
Wonderful.
So, great meal, everybody. Hopefully you have plenty of food. I don't want to hear anybody saying, man, there's just not enough food. because, yeah, we got a lot of food here. But thank you guys for joining me. A reminder tomorrow to join me at our midday motivational time for live questions and answers. That'll be right around the noon hour. And then tomorrow again at 6 o'clock, excuse me, I'll be posting what we're going to be doing tomorrow for a recipe. I'll give you a hint. It is shrimp, or you could use something else, but shrimp. And then we're going to do a grilled vegetable medley with mint. So a very interesting combo, but we're going to be using our ovens tomorrow. It'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune in. And I've enjoyed having you guys all with me today. My name is Davis, the founder of VitaLife, reminding you that today is the perfect day to live a vital life.